Welcome to the My Postgrad Life podcast. Today, I had a conversation with Jimmy Chatfield, a former Division I baseball player, a newly launched business owner, and a close friend of mine. Hear what Jimmy has to say about being young in business, acclimating to new cities, and what he does to get better each day. Let's begin. What do you find the toughest thing starting a business at 25 years old?
The toughest thing about it, I feel like my situation is very unique because what we're doing with Nine Media, what I'm doing with Nine Media is kind of piggybacking off a business that's existed for about 20 years, maybe more than 20 years. And so I feel like I have a little bit of a security blanket where a lot of young entrepreneurs are jumping into the water without really a clue of what's going to happen. I have the support system and the stability of a company that has the infrastructure of being successful. And so for what we do in the talent brokerage space, the entertainment brokerage space, like we know it works. We know that our business works, our yearly 12 and 18 month models work. For us, it's just using kind of like a podcast. It's a different way to facilitate our business and grow.
Yeah. Do you feel like you specifically had specific ideas that you're like, hey, I feel like the parent company is limiting me in a way. And if I'm going to have these ideas, I might as well put them into my own, put my money where my mouth is and go forward with that.
That's literally what I was going to say. Like my CEO has been doing things not one way, but in a certain way for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I saw this growth in our industry that, a lot of, brokers around a bunch of different types of industries have realized that our business has been doing things one way for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of room for growth if we take that leap of faith. What I told my CEO was I'm willing to take that leap of faith and put my money where my mouth is. So I've been saving money for a good amount of time. And I felt like this is the avenue that I wanted to put a good amount of capital in and kind of take the risk, and the risk reward myself, I feel is very, it's fun. I feel like we're in our 20s. I think I'm a little bit older than you, but this is something that I believe passionately about. And I wanted to see the future and have the boom bust potential there. And so I was able to strike a deal with my CEO where we were able to create this sub entity and I was able to take on the risk. And, we deal with the reward the way that we're dealing with the reward. And it's a good opportunity. I would never put myself in the blanket of 100% entrepreneurs who are like building a product from scratch and they were like in their garage or basement doing it for years, getting the prototypes together. Like that's not what this is. It's taking a business that has been doing things one way for a very long time and seeing an opening where we can do it differently, I can do it differently, and take that leap of faith myself.
What has been like the hardest thing about doing this? Is there some days, that are, I don't even know what that could be. I mean, I'm sure there's, like you said, there's good days, bad days, ups and downs, with any business. I mean, that's just how it rolls. So what does a hard day really look like, in your space?
I would say the hardest thing, without a doubt, is that there's no roadmap. And I think this is something that I would share with like a true entrepreneur is there's no roadmap for the future. Like you're constantly guessing which way to go at the fork in the road. Like for us, since we're trying to reach as many eyes as possible through social media, it's how do we control what our brand is as we go out into a wider audience? And then how do we reach as many eyes as possible? Like those two conflicting things are what our space, there's no roadmap for.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a successful social media brokerage like Amalfi Jets, they've clearly defined what their brand is. Like they've made it to a certain level of success. They have a huge office space in Calabasas. Everyone dresses very, very well on a consistent basis, but they're young and they're fun and their CEO went to Embry-Riddle. Like they have a clear definition of what they are as a company. For us, since we're smaller and we're emerging at the moment from the social media side, it's like, what is our brand?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like creating a podcast. Like, what is the brand of your podcast? Are you going to be serious? Are you going to be sitting on a couch? Are you going to be, having formal like interview style facing each other? And that's kind of the tough thing about us is, or not tough, but like when you have a tough day, when I do have my tough days, I find myself thinking at the end of the day, are we approaching our business from the right idea from a brand perspective? Like, am I putting the best representation of Nine Entertainment out into the world? And then what's next? Because there's no roadmap.
Yeah.
So those two things probably are the end result of like the tougher days. On the good days, it's like, oh, we're killing this. Like, we've just brought in this deal. We've made, this much in commissions in the last 30 days. Like, this is perfect. We just need to show this to people. So the good days are great.
Yeah.
But the tough days, you're like, oh, is this right?
I'm going to read you a quote that I saw that you posted actually
Really?
on your
Let's go.
on your Instagram page. You said, here it is. I'm always reminded with weeks like this when everything sucks and I hate myself that this is why I started my own business. I love the challenge of waking up every day and not knowing how it's going to go. Yes, I have days where I'm making 100, 150,000 for one contract, but then I have a 3-day stretch where I question why I'm doing everything I'm doing. How do you feel with such uncertainty, that keeps you pushing forward? What makes you keep going on those bad days? How do you see light at the end of the tunnel? Especially I feel like that can go for so many people that have just graduated college in general, whether they're starting a business or not. How do you see the light at the end of the tunnel personally, when you might have a stretch of some rough days or things not going your way?
Well, I think a lot of people who are in a commission-based industry, it's literally like pulling a slot machine sometimes. Like, our business can be very addictive.
Yeah.
Because you literally never know what's going to happen. And you're always a phone call away from getting, a $150,000 commission or losing an $150,000 commission. And it's very easy to like sit down with your pen and paper and do the math on what you think you're going to make this month, this quarter, this year, and like get ahead of yourself. And so from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's like, it's very addictive and fun to not know. Like, I've never been in a position, like, I've never had a job where I had a full 100% salary. I knew what I was going to get. And like, I saw decent chunks of money coming in the door every single day. And I could be like, all right, I'm going to save up and buy a nice TV or a couch or whatever, because I've never known.
Yeah.
And so when you're constantly in that, like, you never know what's going to happen, you always need to keep hustling. For someone like us who was like, we played a sport in college, and especially for like the theme of this podcast is like an athlete who's transitioning out of being something that's so all consuming, like being an athlete in college. It was actually very natural for me to have a job where I'm waking up every day and I need to go hustle. I need to go like get it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, I've never been in a situation where I was looking forward to like a deposit every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so to me, this feels a lot more natural actually. And I think I enjoy that aspect of it.
Well, that's a really good point, because I'm not in that position, for 100% like you. I mean, I go to a day job every day, and you're right, you have that security. There's some element of good days, bad days happen, but it's not necessarily my paycheck relies on that. But that is an interesting point, that I wonder if you get conditioned to that. So like you were saying,
think you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you were saying that you never had that salary job. You never had that security blanket. So you always kept feeling this need. So I wonder, and I'm sure it is, that there's a tougher leap when you go from consistent pay, have that salary, have those paychecks coming in every month, and then all of a sudden you're on your own to make it, or you don't.
Yeah.
And so that's a good point, especially coming from a former college athlete. I do know a lot of sales teams. They do like to interview and recruit specifically former college athletes.
Yeah.
And I always kind of wondered why that was, and I wasn't sure if, hard work or, just the overall work ethic, but that might be the piece right there.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
My sister works in PR, and they handle a bunch of advertising deals around different colleges and their I'm not saying this, like their brand partnerships. So like if you're at like the University of Pittsburgh and you see all the advertising around the stadium and all the commercials and 15-second time slots, like my sister's company controls all those like advertisements and gets the deals and everything.
Yeah.
And so she deals with like the University of Kentucky's sales team, all college athletes. University of San Diego, all college, like it's all college athletes. And we were kind of talking about this as a family as to like why that was over the holidays. And then I also was just thinking about like, why is that the case? In the thing that I came up with from a sales perspective is maybe the hard work, maybe this and that, but like a lot of people work hard. I think that athletes are conditioned to deal with stress and failure on a very consistent basis. And it seems like a lot of these athletes, when they have a sales call go bad, or when they get like their 5th rejection in a row or something like that, it just blows right off their back like it's no big deal. But to somebody else who maybe hasn't dealt with that amount of failure or stress, they might like say, I can't take this anymore. Like I can't deal with it. And so I think that's kind of one of the constant themes of the athletes, quote unquote, that I've dealt with in the past is like failure, whatever, like doesn't really matter. And they can focus on like the next day, the next step, all that stuff.
Yeah. And if you think about college, I mean, you think about school your whole life. If you go and you fail most of the time, I mean, you're not gonna
get
go on to the next, you're not gonna go to the next grade. You can't show up and be getting, D's on your every test and expect to go to the next thing. But that's innately part of sports, and that's part of being an athlete. And so if you have that, hey, I'm gonna fail 7 times out of the 10 if we're talking about baseball, right? A good batting average 300. You can't bat 300 in physics. You'd get fired. If you make it that far, you'll get fired really quickly. So that is a good point. When you have to deal with so much rejection, which is the same thing as failure in that world, that's kind of how you're accustomed to. Whereas, people's brains work different ways. But as opposed to other students who may not have that athlete perspective. But that also might be something good to just be able to think about. And if you're not the athlete type, you might be able to think back and, hey, if I was in this position, you can rewire your brain a little bit and say, maybe it is worth the risk, and you got to take more risks to get more failures, because that failure only leads to, the closest next success.
I mean, like one of my favorite movies is Whiplash. So like, it doesn't even have to be sports. Like it can just be really difficult things that people have to overcome in the arts and sports and whatever you're doing. I think having the past track record of enduring through failure and keeping going when it comes to sales is probably literally what sales is, like getting rejections and moving on. And so like for our perspective as a business, if you're going to be hanging on to the failures of a deal or when something doesn't go your way, a lot of times it was out of your control to begin with. Like I was just working on a deal for a big golf event coming up that I don't think is going to go our way. And it has nothing to do with my process, like directing sales, or my process putting together artist packages for our clients. Sometimes like a CEO might just decide he doesn't want to pay, blank amount for an artist, and that's out of my control. And it's funny that if you aren't able to handle that immediate rejection at the moment, and you don't handle that phone call well or that email well, you might block out that client from future deals and future shows. I actually heard somebody say this the other day. It was Ryan Serhant, one of my favorite sales and social media guys on the planet. I've studied him like he has. I mean, I know he has books out, but I don't like to read, so I studied all his YouTube stuff. But he has this quote that like nobody likes being sold to. Nobody likes being sold to, but people like shopping with friends. And so if I'm somebody's friend and I'm like, hey man, these are the artists, this is what I think you can get, this guy's in the area, we might be able to negotiate down in your budget range, but I treat it like I'm their friend and we're just shopping with friends. People love that. But people don't want an angry sales guy that they're choosing not to spend 6 figures on an artist. No one would like that. So that's what it is.
And nobody likes the pushy car salesman. No. I mean, if you're shopping the lot and hey, this has this and this is this great deal. It's like, whoa, man, I'm just looking at the car.
I know. It's exactly what it is.
But if you go and somebody's asking you, hey, I'm here when you need me. There's a balance of pushing when you need to enable to close, but also being a little relaxed and being approachable and having that kind of element, which is, exactly what you were talking about. It's so important. And I was hearing Ryan Serhant talk about, and he's dealing with multi-million dollar properties. Some guy, I think he followed up with them every week for 6 years or something like that. And after he finally reached back out to him. It might have been longer. I don't want to, quote anything incorrectly, but
Yeah.
After X amount of time, he said, "Hey, I'm getting a divorce. I need an apartment,"
Yep.
and it was some crazy expensive apartment in New York. Finally got that commission paid off, but he was there, and he stayed in front of him, but also just if you're not likable, nobody's gonna want to do any business with you.
I know exactly what clip you're talking
Yeah,
about.
do
And it's
you?
funny. Like I modeled our present sales structure after that.
Yeah.
Like we reach out to our prospective clients every quarter, about every quarter. And my dream, and this is what I tell my CEO, is like my dream is somebody to reply to me or to us in our strategy like now. And then they go cold for 5 years, but because I stay in touch every quarter for 5 years, they finally come back to me and they want Alicia Keys or Ed Sheeran or Morgan Wallen for their private concert. And I feel like a lot of really successful people have admiration for hustlers, because if you're a billionaire or somebody who has a bunch of money,
Yeah.
you probably had to hustle your way to get there. I don't care if you were a spoon-fed kid who went to Del Barton, then Harvard, then whatever. Like at some point, if you're going to be worth X amount of dollars, you probably had to hustle.
Yeah.
And so people, at least I found, really appreciate someone who's going to work hard. And I've personally seen from my 2-ish years doing this is people almost like throw a bone to the hard workers, and they're like, I'm going to have a party. I know I can do it this way, but I want to work with you just because I know that you've been working really hard at this, and they'll throw you that bone and build a relationship with you because they see a little bit of themselves in you.
Yeah.
And so it's always kind of funny whenever I see that, whether it be Ryan Serhant. I mean, I was a fan of his from when he started. Like I'm talking, I grew up in San Diego. I was watching Ryan Serhant apartment videos as a kid by the Mexican border, fantasizing about what it was like to live in New York City. So that was literally almost 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And, him, Eric Conover, just watching those videos as a fan. And it's so funny to be in this industry where like he does real estate brokerage, I do private talent brokerage, and we're kind of playing the same game now. And he's a quasi, like, he doesn't know who I am, obviously, but he's like in a way like a mentor.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe he's a Yale baseball fan.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he's like a quasi mentor.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at everything he does, and it's really cool to be a part of it in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing I learned early on from so my grandfather on my mother's side, he kind of came from nothing. His father died when he was young. Started working at 12 to like pay bills for his mother. I mean, take care of his family.
Yeah.
Built up an ad agency in New York. Built it up to a really large kind of successful company. But I remember, she always said that people like to help you when you're young. I mean, nobody feels threatened.
Yeah.
If you're a millionaire, billionaire status, nobody feels threatened by the intern, right? But they're more likely to throw you the bone. They're more likely to help you out.
Yeah.
They also want to have that piece of assistance, that guidance,
makes them feel
that
good.
mentorship, exactly. That fulfillment in helping the young, but they don't feel threatened by you, so they'll dish it out. Once you start getting older, you kind of lose that, that baby Huey card, that you're the youngster and you start becoming their competition. So it's less likely that they throw that kind of stuff out your way.
Yep.
So everybody wanted to help my grandfather out when he was young, and he took advantage of that. I mean, he learned what he could, got the mentorship he needed. And but once you start getting older, you start to see that flip away, and hopefully by that time you have your own kind of systems in place, and everything can kind of work for you.
Big was your uncle or your grandfather able to like take stuff?
Oh, I mean, it was multi-million dollar. I
Really?
mean, he had an office on Madison.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I mean, he made signs and things like that for some of the. I wish I could tell you. I should probably study my family lineage a little bit more. But I mean, it was a very successful company, but all started at a very young age and with a lot of help.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I remember. So like I think we've maybe talked about this, but when I graduated, I went to move to LA to work for a producer named Paul Eckstein, who was a very, very big time producer in Hollywood. He, founded, you could say, like Narcos, Godfather of Harlem. He was involved with the movie Seven, the Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman movie. And so it was a really big deal to work for him out of college. I interned for him going into my senior year, and I went out to move with him. And then he had a heart attack and died essentially. Jeez. It's crazy. He had a heart attack and died essentially, like I say the week, but it wasn't the week, but like the week I moved out to LA.
Yeah.
Like it was within that 2-week time period essentially. And I was like, what am I going to do? This guy was a phenomenal person. Like everybody knows Paul Eckstein was an amazing dude. And his family was great. I kind of got to know some people in his life. I didn't know them great, but I was like, wow, this is a huge loss. Like I got to see how that was going to affect his immediate family. But then its impact on the industry. Like there were a lot of people who, because, Paul passed away, were left on an island trying to figure out what to do. And people were very sympathetic in the first 3 months where I was like, this happened and I don't know what to do. But as time went on and I was unemployed for like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and I think I made the decision to move out to Nashville at like the 6-month point of being unemployed in LA, trying to figure out what to do. Mm-hmm. People were like, dude, like you're not in high school. You're not in college anymore. Like you're 23. Like you got to get your stuff together. And in a way, like that level of sympathy, I felt such a sudden shift because I was no longer like the young, fresh kid in college.
Yeah.
Like I was not in college. I wasn't like, oh, buddy, let me throw you a bone. It was like, dude, like now I'm just unemployed. Like I'm just like I'm just like a guy.
You're just a guy.
I'm just a guy.
With no job.
There was like no sympathy at some point. And that's when I kind of made the decision I need to go back to Nashville and try some things there. That's how I met my CEO and am doing what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. And it was such a funny thing because I went from high school to college where everyone was throwing you the bone, but now it's like you're a guy. You got to figure out your life.
Yeah.
And it was so sudden, and I noticed it, and I was like, oh, if I don't figure my life out like now, my sympathy is going away. Like people aren't going to take the coffees and the meetings and the stuff with this kid. And it's actually really funny because it's one of the reasons I moved back because of that factor.
Oh, shoot. Well, that's good. I mean, I never thought about that. I mean, that's you just get to a certain point where you're no longer, oh man, he's working his way.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we're young. I mean,
yeah.
But all of a sudden you get to a certain point, you graduate college. This is where a lot of people struggle. I mean, and then it's just, whoa, you have your life. I mean, earlier on, I mean, you get people help you out, you get bailed out a little bit. I mean, then you have to go out and figure things out.
Well, that's the funny thing is like, especially going to good schools like Wheaton or Yale or, my sister went to Boston University, like good schools like that. When you're in school, you're the kid with potential.
Yeah.
Because like you're at Harvard, you're at MIT, like your sister. But when you graduate and you're unemployed, it's like suddenly people think that instead of being like the young kid with promise, now you're like the unemployed, entitled kid who is like lazy and wants to, like people start putting in all these storylines that didn't exist 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But because you graduated, now they exist.
Yeah.
And so I know there's a million people out there struggling to get jobs and all that stuff. But like, especially working in the music industry, you can think about Belmont. Like if a songwriter wants to intern for me, like which happens all the time. Like kids from Belmont reach out wanting a job or an internship. While they're in school, they have potential and promise and all this stuff. But once they graduate and they're quote unquote unemployed, then it's like, oh, you're another like struggling songwriter. Like so many negative connotations come out of nowhere the moment you graduate.
That's funny.
Like maybe it's not 100% true and objective, but it's what I've found from working with people in the industry is the interest and promise and potential mentally goes out of people's minds the moment you graduate. You're no longer like fun. It's so weird.
Oh, that's such a good point. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, and you have 4 years of college where, I mean, that's so, your grandmother asks, oh, what are you going for? I'm studying this. I'm going to do this. I'm planning on this. And then it's, okay, a month goes, I mean, people go, again, months without finding a job. It's hard to do. But the more that goes on, more time goes on, it's like,
what are you doing?
All right, hey,
that's what it is.
You're no longer the kid. I mean, you just gotta, you're an adult, figure it out.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this kind of transitional moves that you've had. I mean, you're 25. You've moved to quite a few places.
places.
I went right from Massachusetts
Yeah.
down to Nashville. You know, so I mean that seems to be a natural. Maybe some people go to college someplace and then
Yeah.
move somewhere else, or they go back home or whatever. But I mean, how's that experience been, and what are some things that you have done to kind of quickly acclimate yourself and make this new home feel like a home?
Like a home. It's a tough thing. It's something I've thought about a lot, like living in Southern California, going to school in Connecticut, then moving in with my grandma in Pittsburgh, and, you know, playing summer ball. You play summer ball all these different places. Like I spent a summer up in Washington State, in Bellingham. I played in the Cape. You know, and now I'm here in Nashville. So acclimating to new places has never really been a struggle for me. I've kind of gotten used to it. And being around new people and being on my own. Like I've gotten very quickly comfortable being by myself, figuring out what I want to do and prioritizing me. I think a lot of people struggle moving to a new place because they don't have that sense of community.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, say you, for example, I mean, this isn't like your story, but like it would be very easy for someone who grew up in Mass, went to school to Mass, and moved to Nashville to have like a panic attack because they don't know anybody. They don't. It's hard to find that group. And I got very comfortable making friends and meeting people and doing my own thing because I felt like I had not a higher cause, but like I was pursuing something.
Yeah.
And so all the turns I had to make were in the effort of pursuing what I want to pursue. So it was never like a problem moving to Nashville without really knowing anybody other than a few people because I was moving there for a reason.
Yeah.
Like if somebody got drafted by the Titans and then moved to Nashville, they wouldn't be like, oh my God, I don't know anybody in that. They'd be like, I'm moving to Nashville for a reason. Like I have a higher calling.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all of like the songwriters and musicians that move to Nashville, it's like the same thing.
It's true.
And so if I was just moving to a city to get a new job, and like some of my friends call me and ask me what it was like transitioning to a new city, it's one of the things that I factor into my response to people is, well, why are you moving there? Like one of my buddies lives in a city in the East Coast and is thinking about moving just to like a Florida or a Texas or an Arizona just to do it. That in my mind is a lot more difficult and a lot more concerning. And I was a little bit cautionary to him because it was not the same thing at all as me moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And so finding that community is hard. And especially as we get older, like I think it's kind of universally known that making friends as you get older is hard.
Yeah.
And if you don't share those common interests or common goals or common things, it can be hard to find that real community and real friends. And so to actually answer your question, it was never that hard for me because I was pursuing something. And I think when you have that pursuit or like that, you know, thing that you're chasing, bouncing around and doing your own thing and being career oriented is a lot easier than just moving to a new town all the time. Like being a military kid where you're growing up, like this isn't me, but if I was a military kid just bouncing around, that would suck.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
I mean, that's tough to do, especially at a young age.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
It's harder. You know, you think about some of my closest friends I've known since middle school. You know, we just continue staying friends. You know, it's funny. I had the opposite. Obviously, I picked Nashville and I just like moved there, and it's like I knew one person. So I mean, it is difficult, like you said. But I will say the one thing that, you know, I've always noticed about you, and I feel like some people kind of lose sight of this. You know, they lose sight of what they're doing, right? And they go and they say, well, I want to make friends. So then all of a sudden, okay, I find this person, but I care so much about making a friend than I do what I actually want, that I'm going to start going out and drinking when I really don't want to, or I'm going to start doing this new thing that I really don't want to, or whatever it is. I mean, they try to mold themselves to the people around them instead of staying true to who they are. I mean, and then just finding people that come into that light, you know, and that takes time, but also develops deeper friendships.
Well, it's hard. Yeah. I mean, like, and
nobody wants to be lonely too.
No.
I mean, that's very, I mean, understandable, you know, understandable. Yeah.
No, it's just like if you're building something or you're pursuing something professionally, but you have, say you live in a city where you have 20 friends, like say you went to the University of North Carolina and you moved to Charlotte, and now there's, you know, 50 people that you went to college with in Charlotte. there's gonna be 50 people pulling you every which direction, wanting to go get brunch, to go out to drink, to go to the, Panthers game. There's so much to do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot harder to focus on what you're trying to do. One of the blessings of me moving to Nashville without really knowing a lot of people was I can really lock in.
Yeah.
And the friendships that I've made, both professionally and just like friends, it's been great because it's been an addition to what I'm doing, and people know me as the guy doing what I'm doing. So it's a lot easier to stay on track.
Yeah.
Like, it would be so hard, I imagine, to try and do everything that you're trying to do entrepreneurially if you have all your buddies pulling you another way. So it's complicated in a way. And I talk about this with my sister, with my family all the time. And because they were kind of worried about me when I was moved to Nashville and then spent every single minute in the office basically for a year. Mm-hmm. They were like, Jimmy's in Nashville. I don't know if he's made more than 5 friends. And I was like, well, the blessing in disguise is that I'm making friends as they come, but the people that know me are getting to know the Jimmy that I'm trying to create.
Yeah.
So it's been great. I'm like very happy. And I think I have an understanding of what I want to accomplish. And like, that's non-negotiable to myself. Mm-hmm. And it's been great, honestly. Like, I'm very happy in Nashville. I love it. And so I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. I have a couple things. First, I was listening to Chris Williamson Modern Wisdom podcast, and he was telling the story about Victor Hugo needed to finish
I don't know who that is.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, right?
Oh,
the
okay.
author of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is early 19th century, something like that. And Victor Hugo needed to finish this book, and he had 4 months. The publisher was kind of hounding in on him, hey, we need to finish this book. And so what he did was he basically just locked himself in his room, and he had no other option. I mean, obviously,
I get it, yeah.
They didn't have Instagram. They didn't have doom scrolling back then. But, I mean, he had no other option but to write. And he worked all day writing from sun up to sundown. And then he was able to finish the book in, one of the most recognizable pieces of all time. I think about even myself moving into a 1-bedroom apartment, going from roommates to having a 1-bedroom apartment. And sometimes I can recognize the free time as boredom. And I could say, man, I'm just so bored. What is everybody else doing? But then it also kind of forces me to hound in on, hey, let me write some more for this blog. Let me prepare for this podcast a little bit more. Let me work on the website. Whatever it is, you have that, hey, let me use this free time. Let me direction in. And I want to just also quickly talk about the story about how we met. I mean, that was the most kind of genuine,
that was natural
progression. And it's funny. So, I mean, we didn't know each other, obviously, went to the YMCA, happened to be at the same time playing pickup basketball. I had a couple friends that I was with. You were just there by yourself. I mean, we got to talk, and hey, you want to play some pickup basketball? And then we kind of picked up on certain things. I mean, you were wearing a Yale baseball shirt. We were talking about how we played baseball in college. We were talking about that. I mean, and then we kind of said, hey, you're going to be playing basketball. Let's try to run this every weekend. And we exchanged numbers and kind of did that. And maybe a couple weeks later, I think, hey, we're going out, for this occasion, someone's birthday. You want to meet us out, grab a drink, get to talking. I mean, then you started talking about your music thing. I'm a musician. I mean, it just worked out that, I mean, it just lines up. And that's kind of been the best thing, to have people and you do your own thing, I do my own thing, but we're able to kind of bounce off ideas, in a more, I don't want to say professional setting, but also kind of some serious conversations, some serious talk, but also then have the kind of, mindless goofiness, friendship that we can procure. So, I mean, it's just, if you're able to do that, be yourself, regular occurrences. I mean, it's a slow process, but if you are someone who wants to make friends, those are honestly the best kinds of friends.
Well, it's tough because if you think about high school or college or like a locker room, you see these people organically on a consistent basis. Yeah. And so outside of maybe your job, or maybe the gym, but nowadays with headphones, like, people don't really talk always as much at the gym. If you want to make friendships, you have to put effort in. Yeah. And if you're one of those people who was not even in a bad way, just like more quiet, or you were the friend that was just always there, but you didn't say much, I imagine it can be hard to make real friendships as you get older because you have to put the effort in of saying like, hey, you want to go get a drink or let's do this on Sunday and like actively think and actually be a participation because you're not just going to see that guy in chemistry class on Monday regardless.
Yeah.
Like you're not just surrounded by your peers.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's the harder thing about for the post-grad ordeal is people have to make a lot more of an effort to make friends. And if you were someone who maybe like everyone's had those friends who is nice but mean and like if you rub people the wrong way, you don't have that security blanket of like, hey, I'm going to see him on Monday regardless, so we'll just make up then.
Yeah.
Like if you don't treat people well, they'll just fall out of your life.
That is true.
So it's hard now that we're older.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing is so you have to make the effort, but then you have to treat people with more respect as you get older. And you have to like all those things you have to let go and people, you have to be nicer. It's a very different dynamic, I feel like, as we're graduating and moving on and people are doing real things like buying a house and getting an apartment and moving cities. It's like people are going to keep the positive influences in their life.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing. It's a different ballgame.
What are some other big changes that you've experienced going from college life and kind of that whole scene to life in the real world?
I mean, you probably, well, maybe not Wheaton, but like high school and college was it felt fun focused. Like obviously you're working hard, you're doing school, you're playing sports, but it was very fun. Like it was asinine to me that when I heard that people after college don't go out every single Friday, Saturday, like it was crazy. I was like,
really?
why? But now as an adult, you have more purpose and all the time that you spent quote unquote planning for life after college, this is your time to go do it.
Yeah.
So like if you are a business major in college and you're in my position now, it's like, this is your time to go build that business.
Yeah.
And all the things that I want to achieve like in life are in front of me. I just have to go do it. And to me, it's equally as exciting now as it is to work hard and have momentum in business as it was to go drink a lot on Friday night. They're just different.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a different type of fun.
Yeah.
But it's like achievement to me is very, very, very exciting. And I was a good baseball player in college. Like I got good grades, but I did what I was supposed to do at that time of period. But I never really thought about achieving things. Now it's like all that time was preparation for this. Now I get to go do it. Like this is what I've been training to do.
Yeah.
And so it's when you go back to that previous question of like what keeps me going on like the harder days and what's the best and worst part about doing like quasi entrepreneurship is I have the opportunity to achieve. Like if I want a car, I can go buy a car. I just have to go earn it. Or like people do these things, you get to go achieve stuff. Like when I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff of the Gary V types who always knew they were going to be an entrepreneur when they were like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And it seems like a common thread that I've realized through them is they were like, why am I sitting around planning to go do things? I'm just going to go start doing things.
Yeah.
Like Gary Vee was like, I'm going to go, like, why would I go to business school to learn how to do business? I'll just start flipping magazines and baseball cards and stuff now. And I'm 13.
Yeah.
So not saying that there's a right or wrong. I loved college, but it kind of was like, yeah, why do you spend all this time planning? Why not just go do stuff and like go achieve stuff? And it's a different ordeal, but that's kind of what I feel like I've noticed a lot of those entrepreneurial types do.
Yeah. I mean, that is such a good point. And a lot of people, I mean, college sets you up for, maybe freshman year, you don't have it figured quite out. Maybe sophomore year, you declare your major. You're kind of going in this path, but nobody really knows.
No one knows.
I mean, except for a small handful.
People.
I mean, that know, hey, I want to go to engineering right away. I mean, they have this path cleared out for them. But yeah, that's a big thing is you can plan all the things in the world. You can write about it. You can talk about it. I mean, you can have these great ambitions, but at the end of the day, if you don't just take a leap.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, people think too, it's like, well, I want to have $1 million business and I'm going to have to do all this. And just take the first step. What's that first step? Okay. Build this kind of program or build this kind of thing or come up with this idea or start videoing yourself and posting it, but just do it. You know, that's the next thing. And there's so much knowledge you're going to get. And as I'm sure you have realized, I mean, the ultimate MBA is starting a business.
Literally.
You know, I mean, there's going to be nothing more than starting a business. Hey, this works. Hey, this doesn't work. I need to change this. This could use some improvement. You know, this is the type of people I need to bring in. This is the type of people I definitely don't need. Here's the culture. You know, things like that. I'm sure, and I don't have an MBA, so I'm sure there's plenty of people that use it and leverage that. But again, the ultimate masterclass in doing anything is just doing it and learning from that.
Yeah, I mean, even people that I talk to that got their MBAs and know that they're going to get their MBAs, they're not going to, you know, get their MBA necessarily for the knowledge. It's, you know, so you can go be in a room with 150 other people that are like you, so that down the line you have those connections and you can leverage that for, or not the connections, you can leverage your having your MBA for like a higher earning potential. And you're exactly right. I mean, that's what it is. And so I saw this all the time when I went to Yale, because I didn't really know what to expect from people. Like, obviously, like everybody, I thought I was going to be the dumbest guy in the room. I thought like I was going to get, you know, I was going to fail every class and people were going to be like on this stratosphere intellectually that I wasn't capable of achieving. Yeah. And it was very scary when I walked in. And then when I realized everyone's kind of, I mean, there are some freaks, like some crazy intelligent people, but the majority of the people at that level are just willing to outwork everybody else. And the way that the dorms were at Yale, depending on where your dorm was, you could see 150 dorms at the same time. And I remember, I'll never forget this. I was getting ready on a Friday night to go out and party, but because I could see so many other dorms, I could look out and I saw maybe 30 people sitting at their desk doing work on a Friday night, like locked in. And I think that's the biggest separator with people, is how much they're willing to do and what their capacity of hard work is that they're willing to take in. And I forget the question, but that's kind of what I noticed, that those MBA type of people, I mean, it's hard to say, I guess, in the end, because I forget what the question was exactly, but that just kind of popped in my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were just talking about going out and doing it. I mean, doing it. Yeah. And you know, even as early on as middle school, but it really becomes prevalent in high school when everyone is so focused on where are you going? You know, where are you going to school? Like, and everyone's, oh, this person's going here. Oh, this person didn't get in. Oh, they applied to 14 schools and didn't get in, got into 3. And, I mean, they put so much emphasis on that and the prestige of it. I mean, the real prestige is putting in the work and really doing what you want to do. Because also, I mean, there's a lot of people that put in a lot of really hard work, a lot of crappy work, and, you know, they might not really know what they want. They're just kind of doing it and hope that it goes somewhere. And that's, I mean, sometimes you need to do that. And that's part of figuring out as well. Yeah. But, you know, someone like in your position, and I'm just even thinking about how do you make it easier, light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes in my job where oh my God, what am I doing? Where is this? It's just, hey, I'm going to make the best of this and I'm going to do as much as I can so I can just keep pushing forward to the future, you know, because I just want to keep learning. I want to keep doing. I just want to keep pushing ahead. And I want to be the Friday night, you know, study person. I don't want to be necessarily going out and partying quite yet. I mean, there's lots of parties to go in the future.
Well, it's one of those things I think a lot of people, especially post-grad, maybe not immediately when you're 22, 23, but as you kind of hit 24, 25, I think most people have this kind of realization that my 20s are ending. Or not ending, but like I'm halfway through my 20s. Yeah. And, you know, I think people have this like fictional understanding that, you know, I have to be married with kids by 30. Yeah. So if you're in my shoes and you're like, okay, I have 5 years until I'm quote unquote married with kids, I was like, I need to take advantage of this window. So I was like, I need to go all in professionally on the things that I want to accomplish, both in business, in music, everything that I want to do. I was like, this is my time to be selfish and go all in on me. And it's like you're saying, you know, like we haven't really talked exactly on what like your lifelong end goal is with a podcast or media or whatever, but it's like this is the first step of doing what I want to do. And it's like the same way when I was talking about our content for Nine Media, I was like, I don't know what the end goal is, but I know what step one is, and I need to go all in now and take advantage of this time. And I think people can it's hard when you make that realization that I only have quote unquote 5 years left in my 20s. I need to lock in. And people are panicking because they're like, either I don't know what to do, I have no roadmap. And it can be kind of like a lost time where people are trying to figure it out. And it can be really stressful if, like, say you and I are lifelong friends and we've been kind of on that party, hang out, do whatever track. And then you kind of veer off and are like, I'm going to take my life a little more seriously and do what I want to do because I've had this awakening type thing.
Yeah.
The other friend might be like, no, don't do, like, that's like where people get into like the, oh, you think you're better than me, like that vibe. It's no, that person is just understanding that they have a window of youth that they want to take advantage of. And that's where a lot of the decisions that I've made in the past year or so, I made that realization when I was unemployed in 23. And maybe that was a little sooner than most people made that realization. But when I was unemployed at 23 in LA, having to pay rent, trying to figure out what to do, I was like, I need to get my life together, like now. And that kind of led me to do this and do what we're doing now. In a way.
Well, and it's so important to have that real conversation with yourself. First thing you have to know is my life's not over, right? I'm only, in your case, you're saying I'm 23, right? But even if you are 25, 27, 29, I mean, your life's not over. So it's like, slow down. Let's take a deep breath and find out what that first step is, because you get so caught up and there's so much chaos and I got to have kids, I gotta have this, and then you start subtracting. Well, if I need kids, then I need to find a wife. I want to be married for 2 years, so then I got to do this by 28. So then we got to be dating for a year. Okay.
It's like that friend
scene. Whoa, yeah, exactly, exactly. So all of a sudden you just and things get so chaotic. Take a deep breath, take that first step. That's all I can say. I do want to talk about in college. I mean, it's easy to look back and kind of have these existential lessons that we've learned outside of the classroom, use your time wisely, be with the right, whatever that is. Was there anything directly that you learned that you're saying, hey, I use this every day? Or is there a professor or somebody that told you something or taught you something? Was there anything direct that you can remember thinking and saying, wow, this is really good? Oh, yeah, okay.
So my junior year, we had a hitting coach named Andrew Dixon, who was one of the reasons, if not the reason, that I had such a good junior year. He wasn't there for my senior year. And every day before practice, I didn't love this part of his coaching style, but he would do like a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation with like a quote or like a theme of the day. And like a quote, he would read it out and describe that that's what we're going with that day. I didn't always buy into it. Baseball is the same thing. I was like, do we really have a different theme for every single day? Like, do we need this?
You score more runs than the other team.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I felt like we should have pillars within our program that we attack every single day with. Like, it shouldn't switch every single day.
Yeah.
But the one quote that he brought up that has never left my mind that I think of all the time is being great is nothing more than being consistently good. Like, if you think about it from a basketball analogy, say it's great to score 25 points a game for a season, or say 20 for an easier example. That might make you first team All-NBA. If you score 49 one game, then 2 the next game, then 38, then 4, like, you're all over the place. You might get to, that 20 points a game, and you're going to be in the headlines saying Jimmy Chatfield just had a 40-point game in the NBA, and everyone's going to know you.
Yeah.
But then there's the guy who is, 18, 21, 22, 20, 20, 20, and just shows up every day. He doesn't have the crazy games, so he's not always in the media. Not everybody knows him, but he's consistently good. They both end up with 20 points a game at the end of the season and are both considered great because they hit that line.
Yeah.
And when I thought about that in my own life, it was, I'm going to achieve that same greatness by showing up every single day and giving it my all, because I don't think that I'm personally the type of guy who's going to go out and have the 48-point games in business and songwriting, whatever it is. but I can have every day being a 20. And like I can do that. Like especially from a songwriting perspective, when I think about having a catalog of music, like a great catalog of music could just be a catalog of music that's good, but you have an incredible volume of that.
Yeah.
Like I've played you, say I've played you 30% of the songs that I have, you know, say that's 8 songs or 6 songs or whatever. You'd be like, oh, he's got some good music. But if I show you 30 songs, you're like, whoa, that's a great catalog of music. And that's kind of how I thought I should approach being successful as somebody who's maybe not crazy talented, but talented enough to do the job. That quote has always stuck with me. And it's kind of like the bring your lunch pail and go to work every day and have a good day, because being great is being consistently good.
Yeah.
I've never forgotten that quote. And there's been a bunch of other little stuff that come up, but that one thing, especially for my brain and the way that my brain works, has always been there.
Yeah.
And I'll probably never forget it. It's something that I think is very true. It's like show up every day and be consistently good.
I think today there's a lot of, it's easy to call out cliches and then ignore them. Mm-hmm. So you can say, because it's in the same vein of the, get 1% better every day,
Mm-hmm.
Be consistently good beats being great. I mean, it's easy to go, that's cliche, it's overused, whatever, and then totally ignore it. I mean, the reason it's cliche is because it's used so much, and the reason it's used so much is because it's a really good mindset, really good mind frame, to have that. I mean, you don't need to do a lot every day. Mm-hmm. You just got to keep taking one step, show up, give your best. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where this whole culture of don't be a try hard, all this, I don't know where
crazy.
that came from.
Yeah.
But I never liked it back in school. I mean, I always thought you show up and you do your
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and if that's one day at a good level, that's one day at a great level. I mean, but you should not ever show up and not push yourself to be at that good level, because why are you out there? I mean, you're just going to be wasting your time.
Well, I think it's hard for people is like, say they don't like their job and they aren't in great shape and they're not motivated to get in the gym, and maybe their family life isn't where you want it to be. I can very much see how people feel like they're in this pit with no way out, and they just get really depressed and life becomes hard.
Yeah.
Especially,
And you start comparing yourself to the other. I mean, you look at the top echelon. You're not looking at what's great for you. You're looking at what's great in the high and mighty, realms of society.
well, people don't. It's very hard if you're in that deep hole to get started. Like if you think about yourself in this podcast and what you and I are basically both doing, I don't feel like either of us are in a hole at all. And so we like our life, and we're just building additions to our life, additions to our business, additions to your income or whatever. It's a lot easier to come at it from that perspective than, maybe somebody who's very much overweight trying to get to the gym, because you're like, I have to make up all this ground first. It's hard to think about day by day by day by day and be consistently good to be great. That's people, if they get so buried, it can be incredibly overwhelming. And like I've listened to Joe Rogan talk about this a million times and talk about why people can't get started and all this. It's very difficult. It's just, I always come back to that quote that keeps me going and motivated in terms of having like a good fiscal year business or relationship wise or whatever it is. I mean, you could say the same thing about being a good boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
Like being a great boyfriend just means being a good boyfriend all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's all it is.
Yeah, no, exactly. You see, unfortunately, the situations where, oh my God, he's so great to me. See, he bought me this. He's so great. And then it's like, hey, why is he he's verbally yelling at you in public? I mean, you can't just take these highs and lows like this. You'd rather have the guy where it's like consistently good guy, meant well, means well. Things happen, people get in arguments and things like that, but never to go to a level of like pure embarrassment or physical abuse, God forbid. That's a great point. And that's a good quote. Mine that I always think
I was going
about,
to say, what's yours?
It's first day of economics. I mean, this is freshman year, first day economics. And the first principle of economics is there are scarce resources. There's no such thing as unlimited resources. So obviously it's easy to see with money. If you only have $1,000, I mean, you only make a certain amount of money. You can only spend that money to whatever you have. But it also applies to everything. I mean, you have the time. Do I want to spend time doing this, building my business, because hopefully it's going to help me in the future? Do I want to spend that time with my friends? Do I want to spend that time going drinking? I mean, and I'm not trying to put down anything that you decide to do. I mean, that's your life. That's what you do with your time.
But it's your choice.
Yeah, that's your choice. But know why you're doing it and be intentional about how you use your scarce resources. You know, if you have a certain amount of money, you make a salary, don't be blowing it on something that really doesn't matter to you in your life. You know, I've been writing about that as far as budgeting and you know, be intentional with your spending, you know, and be intentional with your time, who you're hanging out with. If someone doesn't really care about you and you keep trying to impress them or trying to, you know, hey, you know, here I am trying to get in their attention. I mean, don't. I mean, that's just wasting your time, kind of losing out on that. I mean, that's just not how you do it.
How would you feel about somebody who, say they, you know, are my age, 25, and they still drink their face away every weekend, and they're giving away their both time and money doing so, but maybe they don't have a passion or a calling or a cause that they're going towards? They're not real, like, the devil's advocate would be like, well, they're not really wasting their time. Like, they make their money so they can have fun on the weekends.
Yeah. I
guess I just answered my own question, but it's like, if that's what you want to do with your resources, that's what everybody's just decisions are different. Like, some people want to do that, some people want to do something else.
Yeah. Now, and obviously there's deeper as far as increased drunk drive. I mean, you don't want to have things that's harming your body, potentially harming others, especially if you're violent when you get drunk. I mean, you should really reconsider getting drunk. Again, I'm not trying to be on a high horse and telling anyone what to do, but you know, there's certain things, and I mean, finding stuff that really motivates you and drives you, that is a lifelong pursuit. I mean, talking to people our age, talking to kids. Yeah. I mean, talking to adults. You know, but I will say my favorite question. Maybe I'll throw this at you too. My favorite question to ask people is, what did you want to do when you were a kid? Because I mean, when you grow up as a kid, and now, you know, a lot of the kids, it's I want to be a professional football player or whatever. But you know, and then that kind of shifts as you get older, and you find some things that interest you. But well, what was yours like? What did you want to do as a kid?
Well, so like, since my family's always been very sports focused, like my dad played football in college, my mom played a year of community college volleyball before transferring to San Diego State and just being a student. So for me, it was always like, my dad was a football player. I want to be a football player or an athlete. And in San Diego, baseball is very big. But that's not really, other than that, like everyone else, I'd never really had a profession that I thought would suit me until I found the storytelling business. Like when I was living with my grandma, I had so much time to kill, and I started writing in her basement with a journal, anything from poems to scripts to songs, anything I could get my hands on. I fell in love truly with storytelling. And I'd always been a good storyteller. Like, I was, you know, went to a private high school, the type of school where, like, if you were smart, like if you were in the top math class at our high school, you were just good at math. Like, you were a smart kid. And so I was never really with those kids. But the one thing where I always killed everybody was storytelling and like creative writing. I would always win those stuff. And I was like, I love this, and I think I'm good at it. I think this is what I need to do. Yeah. And it was that time at 18 was the first time I'd ever been like, this is what I was put on the planet to do, but if there was any way for Jimmy to maximize his potential on this planet and like contribute to the world, it was going to be in the storytelling business, like without a doubt.
That's so interesting you put it that way, because I have, as I've gotten older and talked to, I have a very close friend who's a mentor of mine, former boss of mine. I mean, and I first met him when I was in later kind of high school, junior year, and he was always explaining to me about, you know, finding what you want to do. And it's so easy to go and think about, I want to be an accountant, I want to be an engineer. I want to be
Yeah.
a teacher. I want to be that. And you think of these specific professions, right? You think of the profession itself. You think of the job rather than, and what you put it great. I mean, you thought of storytelling. Now, if you think about, I like storytelling and I'm good at storytelling, I mean, that can encompass so many
So
different
many
fields.
things.
That can encompass so many different professions. It can take you different directions. Like, and you can be in any industry, and you can have your emphasis as a storyteller, and your emphasis, that's your skill set in storytelling, and that's going to be effective. You know, things like sales or marketing or interpersonal skills. Those are more so the things that I find and I've found are more valuable, and kind of allows you to be happier going in different directions. Because if you're so set on, hey, I want to be an accountant, God bless you. I don't know why you would. I work with a lot of accountants, so I can say
Yeah.
that. But I mean, if that's what you want,
Yeah.
think about what it is about accounting that excites you. What it is about that specific field
Yeah.
that you are really going after, because it's not the accounting. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just a job that happens to
Yeah.
fit in that.
Yeah.
But when you find these people that have these really wacky jobs, how'd you
Yeah.
get that? I
Yeah.
mean, they were, you know, numbers. They like to see the analysis of numbers interacting or whatever, or they like storytelling or whatever it was. But I feel like that has paid off so many more dividends, happiness wise,
Yeah.
direction wise, just less chaotic mindset.
Yeah.
Going forward, you can kind of find that skill set and then find the jobs
Yeah.
that kind of accompany that.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I ended up here. Like, I interned at Pure Music on Music Row here in Nashville. I didn't think music was the right medium of storytelling for me, so I went to Hollywood, thought that that was going to be a little bit more me. When that didn't work out, I had a lot of time to think about, am I a better songwriter, storyteller, or a screenwriter? Like, what is the best Jimmy that can contribute? And I thought at the end of the day, I'm the better songwriter, and I want to go use the medium of music to tell stories more than I do in Hollywood with film. And there's a little bit of a layer that neither of us, or that I brought up that you didn't bring up, that I think is relevant. And this is out of a lot of things that I've listened to and thought about myself. If you can marry the things that you're naturally good at with what you love, like, that's what you have, like, that's what you should pursue.
Yeah. Drop
And
everything.
like, yeah, if you're, I forget who said this, but like, if you're lucky enough to be good at the thing that you love, like naturally good at the thing that you love, like, that's probably going to be the way that you can end up contributing to the world in the highest capacity.
Yeah.
Like, when I was thinking about this a lot again recently, like, every person, or me or you or whatever, there is a version of that person that has the highest ability to contribute to society in that way. And I thought that I had the highest ability to contribute in the storytelling business. And I was like, I have no choice. Like, I have to go there. Like, my ability is not as high in any other thing. Like, I thought about baseball. I was like, should I pursue baseball professionally, or should I quit baseball after I graduated and just move on? And I was like, well, my ability to contribute and perform is not as high in baseball as it is in the storytelling business. I was like, it's a pretty easy decision for me, when a lot of athletes, like guys that you know, like dudes playing, you know, D1, D2, D3, you have a lot of these like delusional baseball players, especially at like JUCO ranks or whatever, where they're like, I'm going to play baseball forever. And I'm like, bro, you're in JUCO. Like, your love for baseball does not equate with your ability at baseball.
Yeah.
Why are you pursuing that all in? And not to like poo-poo that, but most people...
Yeah, we're not trying to crush anyone's dreams here. But
what I am saying is most people's are unbalanced.
Yes.
Like, their ability outperforms their interest, or their interest outperforms their ability. If you have both, it's like, bro, you got to do that.
yeah.
And so that's kind of why I took this windy road to get where I am, because I was like, I have to be a part of this industry. Like, that's the married version of that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, the same mentor that I was referring to earlier, he told me, he said, you got to find out what you're good at, because when you're good at something, more often than not, you're going to love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just because you love doing something doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be good at that. So it's right in the same vein as that. I mean, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And it really, again, you don't want to use the word delusional in the, the sense of, I think I'm going to do that. I mean, chase your dreams, right? Go after what you think, but also have a realistic assessment, self audit. Look at what you're capable of doing, what you think you're capable of doing, and then pursue that. You know, and the worst thing that can happen is you do something, and it's like I thought I was a lot better at this.
Yeah. But then you move on.
And then you move on. And now hey,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pursue this. I'm not going to pursue this technology industry, or I'm not going to pursue coding or whatever. I thought I was better. Or the vice versa. I mean, you might run into something. Hey, why is this coming so easy to me? Let me go further into that. No, that is a great point. Where's Jimmy Chatfield in the next 5 to 10 years?
Jimmy Chatfield, I don't know where I'm going to be location-wise. I mean, I haven't lived in the same place locationally for like a 3-year stretch since I was in high school.
Yeah.
My gut tells me I'll be in Nashville. But when I think about that, I think about what I'll be doing. And one of the reasons that I am excited is what I'm doing now feeds into what I'm going to be doing. Like, I don't have to do some crazy career path change. Like, everything that I've been focused on building for so long is now getting to the point where it finally gets to come to fruition and use it. And so everything that I want to achieve from a music perspective and a business perspective, I'm in line to do both. And that's what's exciting. And like channeling back to, maybe not going out as much or doing some of the other things is because I'm excited about those things and I'm planning those things. And like, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Like when you think about, I mean, you do this, I know you perform. Like there's such a rush and a thrill of being on stage performing and like doing what you love and feeling the momentum of that. Like that's so addicting and exciting. And to have that in your life, it's like, I want to focus on that 100%. And so I don't know where I'll be. I don't know how exactly my days are going to be split up, but I know that I'll probably be as excited and as passionate about what I am doing 5 years from now as I am now, except hopefully I'll be living that instead of like working towards that.
Yeah.
And like, I'd actually be more curious about you. Like, what do you think you'll be doing?
Oh man, dude, you're the guest here, but
hey, don't let it go on the first podcast.
No, I mean, I'll just look. I'm kind of in line with your answer. I mean, there's certain things I like to do. I mean, I like writing. I like storytelling. I like making a difference in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, whatever it is, whatever industry, whatever field, whatever it is exactly I'm doing, I'm out there making a difference, talking to people, meeting people, and kind of getting what their struggle is,
Yeah.
And that was the whole core purpose of this podcast. I mean, the whole purpose of the blog is I know that I'm experiencing difficulties.
You're not the only one.
I experience things, I know others people do. I mean, just in
Yeah.
conversations and just from an educated guess.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's kind of my overall goal in life is to just kind of help people out. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but I mean, I really find fulfillment in that. And
Well, it's the same thing essentially is what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like I think about my contribution and what I can contribute. It sounds to me like you're saying that's the biggest way that you think you can contribute.
yeah,
And it's not that we're both like doing what we do in sole effort of serving other people and like, but I think it's gratifying when you're achieving or you're working towards your personal potential instead of just like working a job or trying to figure out what to do with your life and blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like you and I both kind of know what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and it's exciting to go do that.
yeah.
It's a tough question, I feel like, to ask people our age because people can be very bashful about their ambitions. Like, if we did this podcast and we're both 30, like, we're probably a lot further along the trajectory of where we're going. And so it's a lot easier to come out and say, like, this, this, and this because you're like 5 years deeper into doing that.
Yeah.
And I think people in their 20s can kind of be a little nervous about talking to their friends about the stuff that they want to achieve because you're getting to the point where it's like fish or cut bait. Like you got to start doing it. You got to get out there and like put yourself out there and do what you want to do. But people are also still judgmental, like you're in high school or college.
Yeah.
But it's the time where you need to start doing that. So you have so many conflicting factors, maybe even your family too, maybe some student debt. Like there's a bunch of different things coming in. A lot of people, like you said, compare themselves, are still in that kind of teenage period of like judging other people. It can be very hard to break out and do what you want to do and do your own thing in this period of our lives. The ones that have success, like we see over and over and over again, especially in the media business, are the ones who are like, I'm going to do it anyways. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to go do what I want to do and make myself happy.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. And we were just talking about, we were talking about Joe Rogan, you know, his start of his podcast. What does his podcast look like when he's first beginning?
Yeah.
You know, does he expect to have, 1,500 episodes now at this point, whatever it is.
Crazy.
But, you know, if you look back at that time, he's not thinking, well, this is going to be the biggest podcast, you know.
Yeah.
He's just kind of starting it, and he's going from there, and he's just taking that first step. I mean, you know, maybe we'll surpass Joe Rogan one day and over here, but, you know, until then.
It's so funny because it seems like in the media business, like you never know at what level of success you're going to achieve.
Yeah.
But it seems like in the media business, if you stay in it long enough and stay consistent and focus on the work, it seems like if you're an authentic person, you're going to find your audience and you're going to generate a community. It's just at what level of community. But like we're talking about Chris Williamson, how he started his podcast with his buddies on his couch. Now he's one of the bigger podcasts in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But like if you told most people, start a podcast today, and in 8 years, you will be one of the top 10 podcasts in the world. Like, okay, say everybody wanted to make a podcast, first of all. But say everybody did, everyone would be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But most people won't have the consistency to make that happen because they don't know the end result.
Yeah.
So you almost have to like pretend that the end result is inevitable and you're just doing what it's going to take to do that.
All it is just life is just one of those, that meme where the miner's digging and he quits right at the end, right where the diamond's going to strike.
Right before. And that's like, I haven't started posting my music stuff or doing everything I want to do on the creative aspect. It's all been business, and I've been locked in on business for 2 years to grow that part of my life. And knowing that you're close and you're there and you're set up is fun. But like we said off the jump, like you think about quitting, you think about stopping. You're like, why am I putting myself out there both financially, you know, judgment wise? Like it would be so much easier to be conservative.
Yeah.
But it's like 10 years from now, Jimmy, or 10 years from now, Will, would be so mad that you quit.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you trying to appease? Like that dude you went to college with, or that girl you went to high school with, or 10 years from now, you. Like, I'm going to try and make 10 years from now me happy, not 18-year-old, the kid I didn't like in high school. Yeah.
And you have to think too, I mean, because then people are always going to say, you know, well, what's if it doesn't work out? I mean, if it doesn't work out, if you're going to lose money, you're going to lose what about all that time you spent? And if you are really on the path of, I'm spending this time, I'm spending this money because I want to. I mean, this is what I feel passionate about. And, you know, this experience that I've had doing this podcast, doing this blog, I mean, my goal, I've said from the beginning, is even if it's just a personal diary of where I was at this time in my life, what I was thinking, what I was going through, and I was able to just share that. And that was the lowest level of success. I mean, that's still a success in my book, you know?
I mean, it's like, I was just thinking about the dude, Brandon Walker from Barstool. You probably don't know who he is. Maybe you do. But he had a blog for 2 years that did nothing until Dave Portnoy met him and invited him on Barstool. And he's on Barstool. He has like a few shows that he does every week, and his life is awesome, I'm sure. But it's like, he started out doing his blog. His blog didn't work out, but it led him to getting on Barstool. And so it's like you might not, like, this podcast 5 years from now might not blow up entirely, but it might take you to the thing that you love, and you would never get there if you hadn't done this now.
Yeah.
So you have to do the thing. Like, no one knows what's going to happen, but you have to keep taking steps, and maybe you'll get there.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that I think you and I are both saying, and I say to myself all the time, is like the work and the taking the step every single day is non-negotiable. The result, who knows? But doing what I need to do every single day to achieve, hopefully, what I think is what I want has to happen. Because what I wanted the end result to be 2 years ago is not what I want the end result to be now. And it might not be what I want the end result to be 2 years from now. But I have to keep going because I can make the pivot on the end result as I go. But like before, like when I moved from Nashville to LA because I thought I wanted to pursue and be in Hollywood, I wouldn't have known that that was the wrong move and I should have stayed in the music industry. But if I wouldn't have gone all in to do that, I wouldn't know that I need to be back here. So like you have to keep trusting your gut and doing the right thing to end up where you hopefully belong. It's a complicated process, but I think the ones who really lose in that are the ones who never take the effort to go all in and commit. They're the real losers, not the ones who try and potentially fail, because it just takes you to the next thing.
That's so well put. Jimmy, appreciate it, man. If people want to check out what you're up to, your media, your stuff, where should they go and check that out?
So everywhere, just for the simplicity of our business, on every platform, we're spelled out 9 private concerts. And then my personal Instagram is jimmy.chatfield. And so we're kind of doing stuff on both in the future and keeping it simple, 9 private concerts.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Let's go. How long did we go for?